Hi, this is Dan again from CleanGuru, and today I promised you that I would share with you a story about why you should never stop marketing. So here it is. Really early on in our cleaning business, we only had a handful of customers, a handful of employees. We were really small, and every customer was so important, and every check that came in, we knew when those checks came in. So to meet our small payroll, as small as it was, we still needed every check to make this work. Sometimes, by the way, it didn't work so great, but every customer was very important to us back then. They always were, but then it was just so tight that we were really nervous about things. And I remember that we really, in trying to make sure that we never lost a customer, we really catered to each customer, even really frankly overboard. We had full detailed inspections, something I later on we decided to get away from quite that way of going. But early on we had these long detailed these were graded inspection forms. I tell you this story because one day I went into an automobile dealership. So it was an auto dealer. And I went into this gentleman, and he had always been kind of difficult. I would say that he was under pressure because those auto dealers always were, but he was kind of a pain in the butt, to be honest with you. Anyway, I went in to see him, and I was going to review with him his monthly quality inspection form. And I was doing this because I was going to make sure to keep him happy. Well, in this inspection, it was graded, and as I went through all the grades, I identified some things we should have done better. And I think I gave us a grade of, let's say, 87. And he turned to me and said, "Well, you know what? I think I'm just going to pay 87% of my bill if you're only doing 87% of getting it right." Wow, did that set me back? Well, of course, I mumbled and hemmed and hawed, and I said, "Well, I really can't do that. I mean, that's not what I was just trying to improve things." Here he kind of frankly took advantage of me. Here I was a young guy, and I was trying to make sure things were right. And he took advantage of the situation and kind of was a smart aleck about it and did this. And I remember, we got past that, but I remember how much I hated the feeling that gave me. I felt completely helpless. And yet on the other hand, I knew I needed to keep him, but here he was doing this to me, taking advantage of me in a way. And I felt completely helpless. I felt at his mercy as to what he was going to do. Why? Because we did not have in place a regular, scheduled marketing system that was going out to lots of prospects. We changed that, and eventually, for years, we had a regular flow of customers calling us up, asking us to bid on their buildings, and kept us with new business on a regular basis, so that I never again felt the way I did that day in that office. It's been a lot of years ago, but I never forget it. You may have had a situation where you felt that way, where you felt really that you had to hold on to this customer and you really felt helpless about doing anything, about growing because you had to hold on to them so tight. If you've had that happen, you know what I'm talking about. If you've never had it happen, you're lucky because it's a terrible feeling. And it doesn't have to be that way. There's things you can do to change that and turn it around, and you should. Anyway, I thought I'd share that story with you because it really highlights, and I never forgot, the importance of keeping a regular, ongoing marketing system in place. Now, there's a whole lot of other reasons why you want an ongoing marketing system in place. I'll tell you right now, because when you view your customer in terms of the lifetime value of a customer, well, then you want to do all kinds of things to communicate with them and keep in touch with them. It's not just one sale, it's a lifetime sale. But one other reason is you don't want to feel the way I did in that office in that auto dealer. Anyway, that's the story for today. Now, next time, I'm going to tell you another story. If you bear with me, here's a story about a fish market. And the story about a fish market that I heard one day is a great story to help give a little bit of warning to salespeople in the janitorial business. So contract, commercial cleaning business. There's a good lesson in here for salespeople from the fish market story, and I'll tell it to you next time. Until then, remember, you can do this. You really can.